Focus to Prime Minister Modi's historic visit to Ukraine. What we are learning is that Prime Minister Modi and Zelensky have concluded their meeting at the Modi-Zelensky Palace in Kyiv. Now also what we are learning is that 4 MOUs have been signed between India and Ukraine. That is for humanitarian assistance, food and agriculture, culture as well as medicine. I'm joined by my colleague Sanjay Suri on the broadcast. So Sanjay, one of the key aspects of this meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Zelensky was the fact that Prime Minister Modi wanted to take that message of peace, saying this is not the era of war and dialogue and diplomacy are prime. But on the tangibles, the reconstruction of Ukraine is something India has emphasized on, and providing humanitarian assistance, something in line with the Modi doctrine of foreign policy.
Well, clearly we have some specific agreements on that front, and this in itself is not new. India has been offering humanitarian assistance to Ukraine for a while now, and that has been over the last couple of years or so, and there is now an agreement clearly to firm that up further. But of course, these are just some of the specific fallouts. These are the nuts and bolts, but the broad message, even though it is intangible, is the establishment or the re-establishment, if you like, of a good relations between Zelensky and Modi. Those, as we saw, had come under strain after the PM's visit to Moscow, and that has been undone very clearly by the signs we've seen. A very exceptionally warm meeting between the two leaders, and the relations between the two countries appear on a firm footing to the extent circumstances allow, and to the extent, of course, of India's commitment to Russia, which is unwavering. But this is a good outcome, and we've seen some specific results emerging as well.
Thank you, Sanjay, for getting us the latest. Now also what we are learning is, and as we were pointing out, 4 MOUs have been signed between India and Ukraine. That is, as Sanjay was also pointing out, humanitarian assistance, food and agriculture, culture, which is person-to-person contact, as well as medicine. My colleague Siddhant is also with us, joining us on the broadcast. Siddhant, so that meeting between Zelensky and Modi lasted for around 3 hours. It has been now concluded. The meeting took place in the Modi-Zelensky Palace in Kyiv. A significant pitch coming in from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying that humanitarian assistance will always be front and center in the diplomatic relations. Also highlighting the fact that India can contribute to the entire agriculture sector, Ukraine being the bread basket of the world as it is considered across the globe. So agriculture and food, a key point of contact, people-to-people contact, as well as medicine, given the fact that so many medical students also go into the region for further studies. So clearly the tangibles are also there, but the world's eyes will be on that message of peace that could be delivered by Prime Minister Modi in the joint press conference that will be held between the two leaders. Also on the fact that tomorrow is Ukraine National Day. So a whole gamut of diplomatic power plays coming in amid this meeting. Right, we try to reconnect with Siddhant over there, but this is the latest that we are getting when it comes to the tangibles of that meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Zelensky. This meeting lasted for around 3 hours. The meeting took place at the Modi-Zelensky Palace in Kyiv, and what we are learning is that 4 key points of contact have been made when it comes to a joint effort to boost diplomatic relations. Those are humanitarian assistance given the hostilities between Russia and Ukraine and the extensive damage to the public infrastructure across the country, as well as cooperation on food and agriculture, cooperation on people-to-people contact, as well as medicine. Sanjay Suri continues to be with us on the broadcast to decode the messaging further. So Sanjay, at the same time, the question will always remain, and the eyes of the entire world are on Prime Minister Modi's message of peace, given the fact that he had that meeting with Vladimir Putin, and over here he has shown solidarity with the Ukrainian people who are suffering under Putin's war machine.
Well, you know, we've seen, as we were speaking about the MOUs, the 4 MOUs that you've been describing, and that is by way of some specific result. But that, of course, the out much to be The substance of the meeting was 3 hours of a meeting between the two leaders, and that's a long meeting. It's a substantive meeting. It would be suggestive of a lot of differences that would have come up, that would have been faced, that would have been negotiated, and this is really at the heart of this visit. The issue of the war, the perceptions from the Ukrainian side that India is dealing with Russia in ways perhaps they're not entirely happy with, and let's not pretend that all's hunky-dory. This is a long meeting suggesting differences that were substantive, that have surfaced and that have been negotiated, and clearly there would have been a resolution to some extent, and to that extent it's to be welcomed.
Right. Thank you, Sanjay, for getting us the latest. We will continue to track all the developments coming in from this historic meeting after Prime Minister Modi's visit to Ukraine. Zelensky and Prime Minister Modi laying out the diplomatic relations between the two countries amid the hostilities coming in from the Putin war machine as the war continues to rage between Russia and Ukraine. Prime Minister Modi and Zelensky laying out the tangibles of the entire diplomatic relationship, but the world's eyes will be on that message of peace that Prime Minister Modi also delivered in Warsaw. Will he do the same with the same vigor in Kyiv? All eyes of the world on that. But